Hi, I'm Jeffrey Van Curtis. I'm the costume shop manager at the Cleveland Playhouse. And today we're going to show you how we make a costume from start to finish. A rendering is a costume sketch that the costume designer makes, draws, paints, that shows what they want each character in the play to look like. Once we get the renderings in for each show, we go back through and we decide what we can pull, what we can buy and alter, what we can rent from other theater companies, and what we're going to make. And what we're going to make is what is called the build list for the production. Once we have the build list, we go through the build list with the costume designer, and most of our designers are either in New York City or LA, and they go to the fabric district and shop for fabrics from the vast amount of selections they have available to them. Once they've shopped for the fabric, they ship it back to us here in Cleveland. Once our drapers are selected for the show, they will look at the costume rendering and they will determine all the lines, all the scenes, and they will make what we call a paper pattern. Once they have the paper pattern made, they will then cut the fabric out in a cheap fabric. We usually use cotton muslin. Sometimes we use a cheap version of chiffon, and they'll cut that out so that we can make what we call a mock-up of the garment. We can make marks on it, and you can easily see the marks if we want to change any design lines or details. So what happens at the first fitting is that we check the mock-up. We look at it on the actor and check on ease of movement, if that garment needs pockets, placement of seams, length of garment, and once we determine that, all the notes are taken, pictures are taken, and the notes and pictures are given to the draper. So once we have notes from our first fitting, the drapers will take that information and they will go back to the paper pattern and make any corrections they need to make on the paper pattern, and they'll cut that paper pattern out of the actual show fabric. When the draper is cutting the actual show fabric, they also include cutting all of the lining for the garment, any boning tape. Boning tape is a tape that is placed on the inside of the garment, and bones, and it's a casing for the bones that will be actually used in the garment for a structured garment. And they would also cut things like extra fabric for fabric ruffles, if there are ruffles that go on the bottom of garments. Once the draper has cut all the pieces out, pass the project off to the stitcher, who then stitches all together. Then we have a second fitting, and this fitting is done in the actual show fabric. The garment has been constructed. Also during this period, we might determine if there's special rigging. Rigging is how a garment closes, and for instance on certain shows there might be a time that something has to be quick rigged, as we call it in the business. So it might have to have snaps or Velcro or a zipper and have fake closures over that so it looks like it buttons. We will have the actor move around. We will make sure that they have ease of movement, they can move around, that the pockets work for them, the size of the pockets are the right size, they're in the right place. We also check on the length to make sure that they can move and not trip, if something needs to be hemmed up, or if it's a train, how they will walk with the train. The final steps for us for each costume is that we put a label in it. All costumes are labeled with the actor's name and the scene so that we know who it goes to, and the wardrobe supervisor can put it in the right person's dressing room and restock it each night. It is then pressed and steamed so that the garment looks new, fresh, and ready to be worn.